What's up, everybody? This is Tanner from TMNBaseballFan.com. I just had an article of mine published in Beckett Monthly, and it is called Shrouded in Mystery. Check it out. The cards that I talk about in this article are what I call NMPCs, not meant for public consumption. These are the cards that are backdoored. They might be missing serial numbers or foil or other treatments. As well as executive prototypes and that sort of thing. So I wanted to go through a few just kind of as a little bit of a companion to the article. So that way you can kind of put my voice and a few cards to actually that I have in hand here. So let's take a look at some of the cards that we'll talk about here. So the first of all, let's talk about what these are, these NMPCs. NMPCs not meant for public consumption. Are cards like this. These are a couple 1992 Topps cards here. If you notice, they don't have the front nameplates on here. So these quite possibly can be one of a kind. If not, they're extremely, extremely, extremely rare. And I'll tell you kind of like what happened. The back kind of tells the story. They are Topps gold cards. Hang on one sec here. A phone call and decline that. Anyways, so they're Topps gold cards. So what looks like what happened was the gold foil just didn't hit the front. So really, really cool cards. And so these obviously are not pack pulled. They're not something that you could have found from a pack or complete set or anything. These were not meant to see the light of day. And so they're really neat. They command a premium just because of that, because they're something that's completely out of the norm, especially when it comes to like the junk wax era type of cards like this, where there are different variations that are like wildly different or wildly off. Because like this is obviously a massive deal here. That's going to be a big deal to other collectors, especially player and team collectors. And I remember there was a seller online that actually had one of each of these or something. I posted on Twitter and it exploded. Like everybody loved getting these. So the next one is actually a card is the article cover card, which is really cool. I love when certain cards in my collection are quote unquote made famous because they're published. So this is it. Is a 1995 Stadium Club Ringleaders card. First of all, I've always loved this card. It's a vastly underrated card. Look at the shine on it. It's just an incredible card. Etched foil all over the place. It's loud, it's amazing, it's beautiful, maybe headache-inducing, I don't know, but it's really, really cool. So why is this an NMPC? Well, take a look at this. This is actually going to be you call it proof, prototype, whatever you want. Take a look at this. The back is entirely covered in a customer approval sticker. It's got a signature. It has the date 1/16/95. I'm going to assume that Stadium Club did not, that this card actually did not come out for several weeks or several months later, and so this is a card that was really meant just for the approval of the colors, and so you see on the back again the signature of the person approving it, which is really cool. So this is a really neat piece. I sold this, and I actually sold these two as well, and I got them back in my collection because I missed them so much. These are like no-brainer cards to get into anybody's collection really that cares about this sort of thing. So the next two, and there's a few that I certainly put a premium on these, a heavy premium on these. There are a few that I don't, and we'll get into those in a little bit as well. Actually, I'm going to change out the order here. Okay. So here's a couple others. These are, I think they're 1997. Yeah, 1997. Topps Finest. They're embossed refractors. These though are not embossed, which is really cool. So the regular type of, like, first of all, the king of the hill of these variations or these parallels of cards is the actual embossed refractor version. So it's going to look exactly like this, but the player outline is all going to be puffed out and embossed on both of these. Now, the difference with these is that the embossment treatment was not applied on these cards here. So these are completely flat, even though they're supposed to be embossed. So I've only seen like one other of, I think this one perhaps. I'll evolve them. I don't recall, but it's very much so a big deal as far as having these cards go. So these I would certainly place a huge premium on as well. And so let's go into something that's a little more convoluted here, I guess. Let's take a look at. Let's try this one first. This is one of my favorite cards. It is a 1997 Pinnacle Totally Certified Platinum Gold card. It is an amazing card. It's got amazing shine. It's got the Dufex technology. It's got this refractor kind of holofoil logo, and it's just an incredible card. It pops. It's an amazing, amazing card. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can get a better view of this here. There's only 30 of these made, and these are serial numbered cards. But the difference with mine is that there's no serial number. This might be the only type of card of this card that's in existence without the serial number. Because it might have been like a proof, or I mean, it might have been printed for an approval process or something. You just don't know. I mean, there's no real way to tell. I've seen maybe 2, 3, 4 others out there, and the neat thing is this peel off sticker on every single one of the other ones is upside down. So this might be the only one that has the peel off sticker right side up. So this is like a very rare instance of me absolutely not wanting to ever peel this off. I love peeling off these from all my other cards, but this is one that I'm not going to. So let's talk about value on this one though. Is this going to be more or less expensive than one with a serial number? That I do not know. I think that they'll probably be pretty similar. However, the general consensus is when it comes to like a rare card, especially when you're talking about cards that are like at a 5 or 10 or less or whatever, you're going to want one that's serial numbered, that's checklisted, that's not backdoored. Now, because this has like the right side up peel off, and it's the only one that's not serial numbered that I've ever seen and that might ever exist, I would want this one more than any others, just because I want to have something in my collection that's going to be different than everybody else's. So that's why I like this sort of thing. The thing is, though, is that this card is probably not going to appeal to the set collectors out there. So a checklisted serial numbered card like this is going to have instantly a double market for people when they're actually player collectors, team collectors, and set collectors. So if a set collector wants to get one, they're probably going to want one with a serial number. Thing is a lot of these set collectors probably will not pay nearly as much for this card in particular as they would for a player collector or super collector. This is understandable, especially on this card because it is so rare. It just never comes to auction. So I don't know in an auction setting what would go for higher. I know personally for me, I would want this way, way, way more than the serial numbered card, but that's just me. So I might be an odd bird. I'm not sure. When it comes to this one, for example, this beautiful, beautiful. I consider this to be one of the most beautiful cards of the 90s of Canseco. 1999 Ultimate Victory, gold, 1 of 1. It's missing the serial number. So we don't know if all of them had the serial numbers applied. We don't know if this is an extra copy. That way, if the 1 of 1 got damaged, that this would be a replacement. We don't know what this is. But with that said, if I'm being completely honest, would I rather this, if, like, let's say, for example, we know for a fact that there is another serial numbered card version of this out here. Which would I rather have? Would I rather have this one in my collection already or the one with the serial number? I'd rather the one with the serial number, if I'm being completely honest. It's not the case for this one, and it's not the case, certainly not the case for any of these. I definitely don't want the regular versions of any of these over these. That's what makes these special. That's why they're in my collection. This, I'm super happy to have in my collection. I love it. It's going to look exactly the same as the 1 of 1. Everything's going to be the exact same. It's going to be authentic because it's created by Upper Deck. It's just not going to have that 1 of 1. So it's kind of like, would you rather, this card or this card, and they're basically the same except one's got a serial number. So I would like the one with serial number better if it exists, but it's really 1A, 1B, guys. So that's kind of how I see it. Now, the last one I want to show you is this 1998 Crusade Green. Now, the regular card of this is numbered out of 250. This is actually an executive prototype. So it's rumored that this is the only one that's made, or there's one other out there possibly. You could tell, and this is documented, I mean, it has the XXX at 250. There are some of these out there from other people that don't have any serial number at all. There's not really a whole lot of documentation. This card, when you put this up against a regular one, this is going to go for significantly more money because it is documented as a rarity. And it's beautiful, in my opinion. I like this a lot better than the red. Number one, because this is going to be a lot rarer than the actual red because it's out of 25. And number two, it's just more beautiful. It's got the green, it's got the gold, and it matches the A's perfectly. So I wanted to try to run the gamut of all these. So here's what we've seen. Here's what we've seen, and what I can tell anyways on these. You look at from varying, let's say if all of these were pack pulled, these cards are going to be the cheapest that are pack pulled, but there's going to be a bigger price discrepancy probably for these compared to the pack pulled versions, because the pack pulled versions are so plentiful and these are so rare. You'll get a lot more money out of these comparatively. The same goes for this, because it's not really a rare card, but because it has this, it makes it rare. These will go for a little more if they're regular cards, so there's not going to be as big of a disparity of price in these versus the regulars. And I'm talking about in multiples. I think that these are probably, I don't know what they do in auction compared to these other two. I just don't know. But they are special. So now this here, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of a difference in terms of price for this versus a serial number version. There might be, I just don't know. So it's kind of interesting to think about that. But what you've seen is you see the tide is turned, in my mind anyways, from here to here when you're looking at the plentiful cards, low less plentiful, to this is actually a rare card. This is kind of an odd bird because this is actually checklisted. It's not really a backdoored card, so to speak, in the sense that these are. So this kind of doesn't really fit. But this one, on the other hand, this is rare, and this probably would not sell for as much as the regular serial numbered card goes if they were ever put to auction. Now, the thing is we probably will never see this card in serial number form ever. I mean, if we do, outstanding, but if not, then that's just kind of that's kind of how I see it. I don't think we'll probably ever see it. But anyway, so again, the most common base version is going to have the rare, this actual card is going to be in multiples of how much the base version pack pulled is going to be. This one might not go for as much as the pack pulled version. So there we go, guys. Yeah, and by the way, I want to tell you all, I love these types of cards. Like, these cards differentiate our collections from other people, so that's what I love about them so much. It's all about differentiating our collections from others, because we want to have something that's completely new and different from everybody else's. Hope you all enjoy this, and check out the latest Beckett Monthly with my article in it, and George Springer is on the cover. Thanks, guys.